God, this has been way too long. Right guys, what is up and welcome back to another video. Finally, first video on the Volvo after it's come back to Bristol. And it's a pretty exciting one today. We are doing stuff to do with manual boost controllers. As you can see from the title, we're going to gain a little bit more power from the engine, not a huge amount. I'll explain more as we get further into the video. But obviously, to measure any kind of power levels with the turbo, we need a boost pressure gauge. Car doesn't have one of those yet, so I'm going to quickly whack one of those in. I got one of these triple gauge display holder things for a single DIN slot on the radio. And obviously your classic manual boost gauge, which has got smoke screens. You can't see it yet, but we'll wire it up, it'll look nice. And I will do that in just a second. I'm not going to go that in depth with it because I have done another video on installing boost gauges before on my Audi A3. You can click in the top right if you want to give that a watch. I'm going to show you the manual boost controller. It's not yet plumbed up to the turbo. I'm going to quickly check that the car is actually producing the right amount of boost, which should be 7 psi. In today's video, we're going to be aiming for 10 psi with a manual boost controller. So, chuck these in. Chuck this boost gauge in. Wire it all up to the turbo. Make sure we're doing 7 psi. Then we'll go for 10. Here is our manual boost controller. This is not connected up to anything right now, so we're not going to worry about that. We'll talk about that later. For now, all we want to do is put in a T-piece anywhere in this vacuum line. This is literally just a vacuum line that connects the turbo pressure valve. You can't really see it. There's just little tiny little valve that just comes off the inlet of the outlet of the turbo where all the compressed air is coming from. Then that literally just wraps around here and then just goes to the wastegate. Let's just make a little cut. Let's just do it there. Grab our T-piece like so. Here's our vacuum hose that I threaded through the car. We'll just need to try and squeeze this on here. It's a very tight fit. Managed to squeeze it on. So let's start the car, take it for a little drive, and then see if it's registering boost. Right guys, it is a brand new day. Unfortunately my camera died on me halfway through yesterday's recording. I think just when we were getting the boost gauge wired up, and then I had to go to work, so I didn't really have time to do any more filming. But the wiring is all done. The car is reading boost. I'll come show you. I've actually made a couple of changes, which I'll show you now. Right, so before we had the boost gauge come on with ignition. So obviously turn the key, then the light would come up. Now I've wired it in to this light bulb. There is a light bulb just up there in the middle, that thing right there, that's the tiny little light bulb. It's wired into that, spliced into that. So now when I turn the lights on, boost gauge comes on, just like my Audi. I took the car out for a little drive yesterday with no boost controller installed, just turbo to wastegate. The car is producing 5 psi, which doesn't seem like a lot. Factory they produce like 7, 8, but it makes sense because basically, which I'll show you in a minute, the electronic wastegate, do you know what, I'll show you now. So turbo, wastegate, and then this right here is the old factory electronic boost controller. And the reason the car is not producing that 7, 8, 9 psi of boost is because, well, this isn't connected. So the wastegate automatically starts opening at 4 psi. And we're going to change that today with this. This is our manual boost controller. You can pick them up on eBay for like a tenner. I'll put a link in the description, but they're super cheap, super simple devices. We're going to hook it up to the turbo and then aim for about 10 psi today. Once the ECU has been chipped and the boost limiter cut has been removed, then this car would be safe to go for 15 psi. So if you think about it, we're going a massive jump. We're going 5 psi at the moment, which is what I'm used to about the factory 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we're going to go 15 once the ECU's been chipped. But let's just aim for that 10 today. It should see a big difference in the car. Any cheap manual boost controller like this one. It's very simple. I've just screwed this into the car. You have a little sign there that says wastegate. So obviously one pipe here is going to connect to our manual wastegate, which is there. So I'm just going to take this just like so. So that is plumbed into there. Then on this side, all we want to do is then just connect the turbo outlet there, and it's as simple as just connecting the other end of this to there. Now our manual boost controller is connected, the turbo this end, wastegate this end. Right, and how these very cheap manual boost controllers work, if you're wondering, got a little plus and minus dial here which you can twist, increase or decrease boost, and there's a little ball bearing in here that affects. So that basically restricts the amount of boost on this end that then goes to the wastegate. So when you increase boost, less pressure is then allowed into the wastegate, which means the turbo then builds more pressure on the inlet side, because the wastegate is, you're basically tricking the wastegate into not opening when it should be opening a lot sooner. That was probably a very bad explanation, but that's all I'm gonna say. So what we're gonna do to start off with is just make sure this wastegate is minimized, like the lowest boost possible. Tighten this grub screw back in, and I'm going to take the car out for a little test drive, make sure it's still producing around 5 psi, and then we're just going to keep taking it for little runs and slowly increasing it one notch at a time until we hit that 10 psi mark. I'm also going to disconnect this electronic boost controller, like so. Let the car warm up. Right, so I've just got the camera balanced up on the grab handle. I don't have one on this side, but yeah, let's go test this boost. Hopefully we should be making around 5 psi. So that was around 4 then, little blip of the throttle. That was around 4. Okay, so we seem to be making, as I thought before, 4 psi of boost on that little blip I just did in 3rd gear. So I'm just going to take the car to my local business kind of / industrial park, do a couple runs, slowly tweaking the boost controller as I showed you earlier, and then we'll see if we can get it up to that 10 psi, and the car should feel a lot quicker after that, and it already feels pretty quick already, so I'm excited to see that. Yeah, 5 psi. I'm going to go turn the boost controller up 2 clicks. Okay, let's see what it's making now. I just saw it go up to around 8 on that pull, and then drop back down to 7 on full throttle. So right guys, so I have just been doing some more testing. It was getting a little bit busy where I was, so I decided to cut it short and just get the car some fuel as well, because it was really low on that. But with a bit more tweaking, we have got it up to 10 psi, and my god, it sounds amazing and feels amazing. Definitely noticed the increase in acceleration and the increase in noise. But what I'm gonna do is wait till the roads get a little bit quieter. I'll set the camera up in the car somewhere, and I will show you guys exactly how it sounds, because it sounds pretty good now.